including mental and emotional health, which I'm happy to see our organization, not only the Links Incorporated, but the nation really putting a greater emphasis on it, because without good emotional health, we're not going to have good physical health, and then we're not going to be able to move forward in any area of our life, whether it's work or family or play. So thank you for having me. Never cut a tree down in the wintertime. Never make a negative decision in the low time. Never make your most important decisions when you are in the worst moods. Wait, be patient. The storm will pass, the spring will come. I love that quote by Robert Schuller, evangelist, because it speaks to making decisions when we're not in a good space. It's important that we find our peace and that we find a way to remain in a good emotional and mental space, in particular when we're making decisions. If we make decisions based upon how we feel, then we are going to be on an emotional roller coaster, because we are really, ideally, feeling all the feelings of the rainbow every single day. And so when we're feeling good, we're making one set of choices. When we're feeling badly, we're making another set of choices. And so if we make decisions based upon how we're feeling, we're going to be spinning all day, every day, and our decisions are going to change all day, every day. And in order to build a healthy life, in order to have a future legacy of health and wellness, we need to make purposeful and deliberate decisions. Because the decisions we make today will absolutely impact the lives we live tomorrow. When I consider legacy, I think about the generation that has gone before me, my mentors, my ancestors, the elders in my family, the leaders in my community as I was growing up. I also, now that I'm a mother of young men, I have a freshman in high school and a freshman in college, I'm acutely aware that the next generation is watching me. So I am the legacy of my elders and my children and my nieces and your children and the children coming up are our legacy. And when I think about deliberate decisions, I think about choices that were made, and I think about my grandmother in particular, and the decisions that she made in her life in order to influence me. She made certain that I knew etiquette, that I knew what fork to use, and properly attired, and cross your legs at the ankle and not at the knee. And so she was deliberate in her decisions, making certain that I knew how to carry myself in the way that she considered to be a lady. She was also very deliberate in her decision of education. So was my father. My father is a professor, and education was critically important to my family. And so they made deliberate decisions, not based upon their feelings, but based upon their values and what they thought was important, to make sure my external being was okay, to make sure that I carried myself and presented myself in a way that was appropriate to society and to them. My grandfather used to say, "You're a Loury. Don't ever forget that. And you represent something that is more than yourself." And that has stuck with me throughout my life. What they didn't do was make deliberate decisions regarding my inner self, my emotional self, to make sure that that person was taken care of. And I think oftentimes we make the mistake of not making those deliberate decisions as we teach our children, as I think about my sons and my nieces and the other people that are watching, and the other little people that are watching us live our lives. My family, in regards to professionalism, their members are very successful professionally. However, my grandmother, who was my heart, God rest her soul, died at a relatively young age. The older I get, the younger it sounds when she died. But she died at a relatively young age because she didn't take care of her inner self. She ate badly. She drank too much. She didn't know how to manage her stress. And as professionals, juggling hats serving the community, professionals in our field, parents, aunts, uncles, and leaders. Oftentimes we put ourselves last, and that's exactly what my grandmother did. She did not manage self-care. She did not teach me good self-care because, quite frankly, I don't think she knew how to manage her own good self-care. And so as we are building our healthy legacy, yes, I want to make sure I said it right, for our future, it's critically important that we manage our self-care because our legacy is watching, and that we teach them good, proper ways to take care of themselves. I'm often asked why I went to the field of psychology, and without fail, my answer is always to understand my crazy family. And that's an honest answer, not sincere. So fortunately, I did go into the field, and I did not pick up the behaviors that my grandmother role modeled for me. But I was fortunate. I made a deliberate decision. And today, I would like to talk about my 7 tips for us to have good self-care, not only for ourselves as we are managing our own lives and multitasking, but also tips that we can share with our children and the future generation and other leaders within the community. So, first tip, don't react. Stop, think, and act. In the Robert Schuller quote, he talks about wait, be patient, the storm will pass, and spring will come. When we make decisions in emotional reaction, we never, ever, ever make a good, sound decision. But if you allow yourself to stop, think about what has occurred, think about how you feel with what has occurred, and make a decision to act, then 9 times out of 10, you will have made a decision that you're comfortable with and one that you'll be able to stick to. 2, say no. That is so difficult for people. Say no. Oftentimes people are concerned. If I say no, what will somebody think about me? What will that mean to that person? Will this person be angry with me? I don't know what she's gonna say, that sort of thing. What you don't realize often is that every time you say yes, you're automatically saying no to something. If I said yes to being here today, I'm saying no to being somewhere else, just because I said yes to being here. So if you think of it in those terms, every time you say yes, you're saying no. Let's flip it. Sometimes say no, because in saying no, you're automatically saying yes. No, I'm sorry, I can't make that event. Means yes, you get to stay home, exercise, relax, spend time with your children. So say no. And actually, I give my clients homework. That's homework. 3 no's for over the next couple of weeks. Let's see how you do. 3, take time for yourself. The busy professional never has time for anything. Oh, I'm so busy. I don't have time. ... Until something happens. I'm quick to say that. Oh, yeah, I would love to. I just don't have time. I have a gym membership that I rarely use. I have time to get my nails done though. My hair. I have a conference next week. Trust me. I will be presentable. But I didn't have time to go to the gym. I had time to go shopping. My child, I noticed that he's 15. His big brother has gone off to college, and his mom is busy. He has a lot of time on his hands. I've noticed that he's gained some weight. So I found time to find him a personal trainer. I found time to take him there. I have found time to do everything except for take care of myself. I can take 10 minutes in the morning to meditate. I can take 15 minutes in the afternoon in order I love to read. So self-care, take care of yourself. Do the things that feed your spirit. Other than shopping, spend money, but do the things that really actually feed your spirit. I found even when my boys when they were both home a couple of years ago, the second I hit the door, the second I'm there, Mom, can I, may I, what are you doing? They're pulling at me. So what I did was on my way home, I would pull over, side of the road, in a neighborhood, not expressway, and pull out a book and read for 15 or 20 minutes. They were going to be okay for 15 or 20 minutes. It allowed me the time to center myself, exhale a little bit, and then go be mommy. 4, be clear of your priorities. We often say our family is the most important thing to us. However, we don't always live that way. And using my children, again, I was very quick to say, oh, my children, the most important thing to me, I spend time with them every time I can. Well, my younger son, this has been a few years, my younger son said, you know, Mommy, we never see you. We never get to spend time with you. I said, okay, how can I solve that? But building my practice at the time, I had several offices and several locations. So I came up with a wonderful idea at a suite. So I made one of the offices about comfy furniture and a TV and I'm dating myself, a DVD player, and all the comforts, a place for them to do homework. One day we were on our way to my office. I had evening clients after school, talking to them about their day, and said, isn't it wonderful you get to spend so much time with Mommy? And my little guy, my challenge in life, said, Mommy, we don't spend any more time with you. You spend a lot of time with your clients. You don't spend any time with us. And I thought I was doing something. And he was right. There was a time when I could be out to dinner with my children and leave the restaurant to take a call from a client. Tell them I'll be right back. The last time that happened, my son, I didn't realize how long I'd been standing outside until my son came out and said, Mommy, we gotta pay a bill. I'd missed the entire dinner. They packed up my dinner. I didn't even realize how long I'd been gone. I was not living my priorities. And it is tremendously important. I had to make some changes. That's also about self-care for me, because it's important for me to be a good mother. My husband passed away 11 years ago, so I am the only parent that they have. And to look back on this and to think they kind of grew up with me ancillarily standing by would have been a heartbreak for me. So I made some changes. I did what's next on my list, number 5, which is set boundaries. I had to set boundaries for myself, as well as set boundaries for other people. Nobody told me to leave the table to take the call. I realized I had to allow myself to compartmentalize a little bit, but as important as it was for me to be a success, again, going back to my family and what I was taught, it was also as important to me to be accessible to my children, to be truly in the moment. And so I had to start living my priorities, which meant I had to say no to some things, and I needed to set some boundaries for myself. And so my phone goes off at certain hours. I also had to realize that I'm not all powerful or all knowing. People would be okay if they did not have 24-hour access to me. It was going to be fine. So setting boundaries for yourself, and then also setting boundaries for other people, that also goes along with saying no. Don't let someone, prioritize yourself, and don't let other people take from you until you have given to yourself. Set boundaries. Number 6, know your expectations. Most of us in here, most community leaders, we have high standards. We have high expectations for ourselves, and we have high expectations for others. We're not always aware of just how much pressure we're putting on ourselves, and how much in turn putting pressure on others. So we have to recognize what we're doing, and sometimes adjusting our expectations of other people and realizing that it's okay. That goes back to saying no. That goes back to setting boundaries, allowing other people to also set boundaries with you. Walking your talk, living by example. You're setting boundaries, and it's okay if somebody else sets boundaries and says no. Adjust your expectations sometimes of yourself and of others. And finally, nurture your relationships. Number 7. I spoke a little bit about doing the things that feed your spirit. That's your relationship with yourself, which is the most important one. My mother used to tell me, if you take care of yourself, everything else will fall into place. And she was 100% correct. Because if I'm not okay, nothing else is going to be okay. I'm taking care of you, and I'm draining my energy. My battery is depleted. I'm now building resentment, anger, anxiety comes from that, depression comes from that, and whatever service you're giving, whether it's to the community or to your family or to a neighbor, it's not going to be as good as it would have been had you taken care of yourself first. It's okay if you're there 15 minutes late, if it allows you to recharge your battery, because you're going to be so much better worker if you're centered and in a better place. Also, an exercise that I do every year, and an exercise that I have my clients do every year, I call it the birthday homework. Think about the people in your life and put them in one of three categories. There's the first category called the friendship category. These are the people that feed your spirit, they make you feel good, they're supportive, they're encouraging, they're positive, they give to you. Then there's this second category called the acquaintance category. Now these people don't necessarily feed you, but they don't take from you either. Then the third category is called the leech category. They're leeches because they attach to you and they suck the blood out of you. Sometimes these are family members, sometimes they are friends, other times they can be coworkers and colleagues. The reason this exercise is done is that you're aware of who you're surrounding yourself with and what you are spending your time on. The leeches have a way of getting their needs met because they've attached to your body. They get your blood before you do. And the goal for the next year is to set boundaries and minimize the time with the leeches and increase the time with the friends, the people that feed your spirit. We're not going to dump anybody, but we do need to be critically aware who we're with and nurture the relationships that feed our soul, because what we have a tendency to do is to spend our time and give our best selves to the leech, because they're in your face, they're there, they're demanding. And then we're not really nurturing the relationships that are the friends. You know, I even have sometimes clients look at the acquaintance list. Is there somebody on that list who you'd like to get to know better? Who might be someone that can support you and feed your spirit? And if you do it every single year, which is why I call it the birthday homework, you can notice people will move amongst the categories. Sometimes you're a leech because life is happening. You know, you're in a crisis. Your failed marriage relationship, had a death, you're not feeling well. All sorts of things can happen. Why you yourself might become a little bit of a leech. And then as life gets better and you implement some of the other tips, then you're not so needy and you're not so much of a leech. And it'll be interesting to watch people move amongst the groups if you do it every year. People can only do what we allow them to do. So remember that. As Robert Schuller said, wait, be patient. The storm will pass. The spring will come. Well, spring is here. We thank you, Lord, because we had a long winter. And I'm from Chicago, and even I thought this was a long winter. So glad this spring is here. If we take care of ourselves and we consider the 7 tips, which I challenge each and every one of you to do, then we'll be able to move through the seasons a little less scathed, a little more centered, with a little more peace. And as we build our healthy legacy, we're not only role modeling for our children, but I challenge all of you also for this next generation, for our legacy, to purposefully and deliberately make the decision to teach them about taking care of their inside. Because I know we all teach them how to take care of their outside. And so that is my challenge for you today. Thank you for having me.